TNA was my childhood company. I watched Impact Wrestling / TNA for 7 years from 2007 to 2014. So I decided to recreate TNA wrestling. So there is one requirement though. The era that I'm trying to capture is from 2007 to 2009, meaning that wrestlers that were in TNA from 2007 to 2009 are the only ones that are going to be allowed. Those are the stipulations. Let's get into the video. So our first event is TNA Genesis, where we'll be crowning 3 of our inaugural champions: the Tag Team Champions, the X Division Champion, and the TNA World Champion. Let's start out with the tag titles to open the show, as Beer Money Incorporated, James Storm, and Bobby Roode take on the team of the Latino American Exchange, LAX, and Homicide and Hernandez. And after a back and forth tag match that probably went on way too long, James Storm hits a falling neck breaker and he pins him for the 1-2-3. Beer Money become the tag team champions, our inaugural champions. Our next contest is for the X Division Championship, as Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel, takes on Frankie Kazarian in a back and forth high-flying X Division-like match. Yes. Christopher Daniels hits the Angel's wings and pins Frankie Kazarian to become your inaugural X Division champion. Our main event is for the TNA World Championship, as Kurt Angle takes on AJ Styles. And if you haven't seen these two wrestle in 2007, you should go, because they were on a whole different level. After a 15-minute match, AJ Styles defeats Kurt Angle, hitting the Lethal Combination, that's move theft from Jay Lethal. And AJ Styles becomes the inaugural TNA champion, which makes sense, I guess. Before we get to Against All Odds, we have our first episode of Impact. We'll be crowning our TNA Knockouts Women's Champion, as Gail Kim takes on Awesome Kong. And if you haven't seen these matches either, you should go check them out, because this was like revolutionary in 2007 with women's wrestling. Gail Kim hits the Eat Defeat onto Awesome Kong and upsets Awesome Kong by becoming the first inaugural TNA Women's Knockouts Champion. That's a mouthful. And now we arrive at Against All Odds, our second pay-per-view. We have 3 matches tonight. Our first is between Beer Money, the new tag team champions, taking on the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. After a hellacious tag team match, the match ends when Alex Shelley hits like a twirl kick. I don't know, someone put it in the comment section. He hits a kick, and I guess Bobby Roode thought that James Storm could have kicked out, but he did not. And Bobby Roode's like, God, son of a... I cannot believe he didn't kick out of that. So, the Guns win, and new tag team champions. Our next contest is for the X Division Championship. Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel, defends against... Wait, what do you mean we can't say that? We can't say his name? Damn you, YouTube. So we'll just go by Manic, since that was his other name. So Christopher Daniels takes on Manic. Manic hits the DOA, I guess version 2, and he pins Christopher Daniels. And if you kind of know who's under the mask, you'll kind of see the controversy here. In our main event Against All Odds, AJ Styles defends his TNA World Championship against Christian Cage. AJ hits a flying forearm, or phenomenal forearm, but Christian Cage kicks out. Christian Cage hits an unprettier and then a frog splash off the top to finish off AJ Styles. Christian Cage is now the new world champion. 3 title changes in one night? Who's booking this? Oh, well, that makes sense. Oh shit! On the next episode of Impact, Gail Kim defends her Knockouts Women's Championship against Angelina Love of the Beautiful People. And thanks to a huge amount of interference from her cohort, Velvet Sky, Angelina Love hits an arm drag, pins Gail Kim, and becomes the new Knockouts champion. And at Destination X, our first match is for the X Division title, as Manic defends against Konnichiwa. He's hot, he's spicy, he tastes great, Curry Man. These two went at it, and this is a little fishy, if I do say so myself. But Manic is able to hit the Arana and a DOA onto Curry Man and retain his X Division title. And alright, let's just say it. Manic is Frankie Kazarian, Curry Man is Christopher Daniels. Our next match is for the tag team titles as Beer Money takes on the Motor City Machine Guns in a full Metal Mayhem match. This is basically a TLC match in TNA terms. And as Alex Shelley was climbing the ladder, Chris Sabin was able to isolate Bobby Roode, and he also was able to distract James Storm long enough for Shelley to take the belts down, and the Guns retain their tag titles in full Metal Mayhem. In our main event, the Icon Sting challenges the instant classic Christian Cage for the TNA World Championship. Christian put up his best fight, but in the end, he gets dropped with a Scorpion Death Drop, and the Icon Sting captures the TNA Championship once again. Or the first time in this universe. Post-match, Sting is celebrating, but then Kurt Angle comes out and hits an angle slam, and then afterwards, Sting and Kurt Angle celebrate as they announce the main event Mafia has been formed. Himself, Sting, Kurt Angle, Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, and Booker T, with the goal of dominating the main event scene and leaving everybody else in the dust. Following Destination X, we go to Impact, where Manic defends the X Division title against Amazing Red. This match was absolutely incredible. It was unbelievable. So much cool crap happened in this match. It was amazing. The match finally ends after Amazing Red hits the Code Red and then follows it up with a spiral tap to pin Manic. And Amazing Red becomes the new X Division champion after an amazing match, no pun intended. In the main event, Booker T, who crowned himself as the Legends champion after the formation of the main event Mafia back at Destination X, is now defending his championship against Wildcat Chris Harris. And to the shock of everyone, Chris Harris defeats Booker T. In Booker T's first match as a part of the main event Mafia and champion, Chris Harris upsets him and becomes the new Legends champion. And the main event Mafia are not happy. And now at Lockdown. Now, Lockdown is a special pay-per-view. Every match is a cage match, or a cage match of some sorts. So, our first match is the Motor City Machine Guns defending their titles in a cage against Relic and Black Rain. By the way, Relic is killer spelled backwards. Get it? Get it? Anyways, Black Rain decides to leave the cage early. He's just like, yeah, see ya, brother. Good luck. And leaves Relic to the Motor City Machine Guns. However, after they beat the crap out of Relic for a while, Chris Sabin gets out. And then Relic decides to climb up the cage as well. It leads to a final showdown between Alex Shelley and Relic. And somehow, Relic throws Shelley off the top of the cage. And Relic escapes. Black Rain and... I was about to call him Killer. Black Rain and Relic become the new Impact TNA Tag Team Champions. Our second match of the night is a steel cage match again, as Gail Kim is looking to get her revenge on Angelina Love inside of the four sides of steel. Gail Kim destroys Angelina Love in this match. This match is pinfall only, no interference, and no escape. So Gail Kim destroys Angelina Love, finishes off with the Eat Defeat, and Gail Kim reclaims the Impact TNA Knockouts Championship. And our main event is the Lethal Lockdown match. Here are the rules. No, it's not War Games, it's Lethal Lockdown. Here are the rules on the screen for Lethal Lockdown. So there are two teams. Team Main Event Mafia, Sting, Kurt Angle, Scott Steiner, and Kevin Nash versus Team TNA. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Abyss, and Jeff Jarrett. And after 30 minutes of Lethal Lockdown action, Samoa Joe pins Kevin Nash after he hits an elbow drop off of the cage rope. Yeah. And the TNA Originals defeat the Main Event Mafia, who are at this point are looking more like the mid-card Mafia. You know, with all the losses they've accumulated. So now we go back to Impact, where the Legends Championship is on the line, as Booker T is looking to get back the title they lost, although there's a catch. It's a triple threat match. So Chris Harris, the Wildcat, defends against Booker T and... That's right, Stone Cold Sharkboy, baby. My other favorite childhood hero, other than Curryman, Sharkboy. And the best thing I could possibly think of happens. Sharkboy hits a stunner onto Chris Harris and wins the championship. I was so ecstatic. I was losing my mind because I never thought Sharkboy would ever do it. But Sharkboy finally wins his first title. And now we arrive at Sacrifice. Our first match is for the TNA tag titles. The Motor City Machine Guns are getting their second shot at Relic and Black Rain. Chris Sabin hits a cradle shock, but Relic runs in the ring and he misses, but Black Rain kicks out. So then Chris Sabin just grabs Relic, throws him out of the ring, hits him with a second cradle shock, and defeats Black Rain. The Guns get their titles back in a rematch between Manic and Amazing Red. So Manic is getting his title shot rematch thing, and they put on another classic, another banger of a match. But Amazing Red hits a frog splash off the top to finish off Manic, and Amazing Red retains his title in another killer X Division match. And now it's time for the main event.
You say that not all men are created equal, but then you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe, and that's just not true.
Scott, you're not booked for this show.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Yeah, sorry, Scott. It's not a triple threat at Sacrifice, alright? Sorry, bud.
I'm not in the match at Sacrifice? I'm not in the main event? Who is?
It's Sting and Samoa Joe. That's the main event for Sacrifice.
Then, you know what? Fine, I'll just leave.
Alright, well, thanks, Scott, for your wonderful announcing. Yes, Samoa Joe versus Sting for the Impact TNA World Championship. Sting defeats Samoa Joe after hitting a death drop, and Sting walks out as still the champion and the main event Mafia, or the mid-card Mafia at this point. So now on Impact, Gail Kim has to defend her Knockouts title against ODB. And if you don't know who ODB is, let's just introduce her, give her a little bit of a background. Take it away, Scott!
Coming to a truck stop near you! One of the nastiest bitches in wrestling history! One dirty bitch, ODB!
Thank you, Scott. Despite her being one of the nastiest bitches in TNA history, she was not able to defeat Gail Kim, as Gail Kim had a splash from the top to pin her, and that was the end of it. Gail Kim retains and is starting to look pretty dominant as champ. Now we arrive at one of the biggest shows of the year for TNA, Slammiversary, the anniversary show. Our first match is for the Legends Championship, as our boy, Sharkboy, defends against Raven. Yeah, Raven. Raven hits a GTH onto Sharkboy and pins him for the 1-2-3. Raven becomes the new Legends Champion as I drown out my sorrows with some milk and butter because Sharkboy lost the match. I'm so sad. Our next match is for the X Division Championship, as Amazing Red, the current champion, defends against AJ Styles, who's looking like 25 years younger than he is right now. After an amazing match once again for the X Division, which is kind of becoming a recurring trend, Amazing Red hits not just one, but two spiral taps against AJ Styles to pin him and defeat him, using AJ's own move. Amazing Red is still your champ. In our main event of Slammiversary, the Icon Sting, the leader of the main event Mafia, takes on the founder of TNA, Jeff Jarrett, for the World Championship. And after a battle of the two old-timers, Sting hits a death drop on the Jeff Jarrett and retains his championship. So, on Impact, we have Amazing Red once again defending his X Division Championship against Black Machismo Jay Lethal.
Ooh, yeah, it's me, Jay Lethal. I'm trying to get the X Division title. Unfortunately, Amazing Red hit a frog splash, and it cost me to lose the title.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I just love doing those impressions. Amazing Red is still your champ, and Black Machismo is back to the line. And now it's time for Hard Justice, where TNA goes extreme. Our first match is the Motor City Machine Guns defending their tag team championships against... Oh, wait. Scott, you want to do this again? Sure. Alright, Scott, take it away.
Hailing from Dunkin' Donuts, from the great state of obesity, Team 3D!
Yep. Thank you, Scott. It's probably the last time we'll use you, brother. Team 3D are taking on the Guns in a tables match. So, it's kind of already rigged in the favor of Team 3D. So, did they win? Well, Sabin went through a table first, which means that, since it's elimination, that means that Alex Shelley was left on his own to fend against Team 3D. So they pulverize him, throw him through a table, and Team 3D become the TNA Tag Team Champions despite Scott Steiner shitting all over them. Our second match is a Falls Count Anywhere match for the Legends Championship as the current champion Raven takes on Rhino for the Legends title. This match was violent, brutal, at least I thought it was. And eventually Rhino hits a gore to Raven, pins him, and the Legends Championship once again changes hands on a pay-per-view. This is just kind of ridiculous, isn't it? In our main event, Sting will be defending his TNA World Championship against the Monster Abyss in a Monsters Ball match, which, if you don't know, is an Extreme Rules match, but since Abyss is in it, it's Monsters Ball. And it was violent, because every match with Abyss is violent. But Sting was able to survive Abyss, hit a death drop, pin him, retain his championship once again, and Abyss is lost in a Monsters Ball, which happens a lot, actually. I think his record is like 2 and 10. And now on Impact, Gail Kim once again defends her Knockouts championship against Daphne, God rest her soul. Daphne tries her best to defeat the dominant Gail Kim, but Gail Kim hits a Celtic cross onto Daphne. You. Gail Kim hits a Celtic cross onto Daphne to pin her and retain her Knockouts title. So at No Surrender, the Main Event Mafia is back in the fray as they look to get rid of their mid-card status by climbing in the main event. Their first attempt is the Legends Championship, as Kevin Nash of the Main Event Mafia is looking to take on Rhino for the Legends title. Because Booker T lost, they decided to swap in Kevin Nash. The result was the same. Kevin Nash got gored, and Rhino retains his championship, disappointing the Main Event Mafia. You know. Our next contest is once again the Main Event Mafia, consisting of Booker T and Scott Steiner. Take on the team of Team 3D for the tag titles. Scott Steiner pummels Brother Devon on the outside. He runs back in the ring, and he punches Brother Ray off of the rope, and it wins by countout. However, Dixie Carter said that if anybody loses via countout, then the Team 3D would lose their titles. Because of that, the Main Event Mafia actually snagged the tag team titles due to a countout victory. In our main event, rather than the TNA Championship being on the line, it's the X Division title, as the dominant champion Amazing Red defends against Main Event Mafia's own Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle threw everything he had at this match. He hit a Code Red on Amazing Red. He locked on the ankle lock, but somehow Amazing Red got out all of that. And in the end, Kurt Angle goes for a move, but Amazing Red counters into a roll-up and pins Kurt Angle, shocking everyone. The Main Event Mafia has lost twice tonight, and the only other way they won was because of countout. So they really are starting to turn into the mid-card Mafia. Really, they are. Like, they need to take away the Main Event moniker because they're not main eventers. So Impact actually got canceled for the next couple of months, so we're just going to be doing the pay-per-views instead. So let's get to it. At Turning Point, we have 3 matches. Our first is the Legends Champion Rhino defending against the hardcore icon himself, Mick Foley. It was a very hardcore match, at least I hope it was. And Mick Foley locks on the Mandible Claw and pins Rhino to become the new Legends Champion. Our next contest is for the TNA Tag Team Championships. And I know what you're thinking. It's the Main Event Mafia defending against Team 3D, right? Nope. Beer Money Incorporated. I don't know why, but Universe Mode does not like Team 3D, I guess. And after a tag team war between Beer Money and Main Event Mafia, Scott Steiner hits a Frankensteiner. Yes, Scott Steiner from like 2008 hitting a Frankensteiner. You know how crazy that is? And pins Bobby Roode, and Main Event Mafia retain. And it looks like they're the only 2 members of Main Event Mafia that actually are competent. Now that Sting has basically run through the entire main event roster, we kind of ran out of some challengers. So Sting is going to be taking on the outsider, the wild card, Tomko. Do you remember Tomko? Remember he was Christian's aide? Well, now he's getting a world title shot because Sting's beating everybody. And I know what you're thinking. Sting hit the Scorpion Death Drop, pin Tomko to retain, right? You'd be wrong. Sting went for the death drop, but Tomko countered it, hit a spear, and pinned Sting. Tomko, of all people, has become the new world champion. I couldn't believe it. Sting's reign comes to an end because of Tyson Tomko. What a weird ending. Oh look, Impact's back. Yep, Impact is actually back on the air after a month. Amazing Red defends its X Division Championship against Low-Ki, aka Sinchi, aka, for WWE fans, Kaval. You remember him. Code Red to Low-Ki. Amazing Red retains in a very easy 3-minute squash match. And now we arrive at Victory Road, the beginning of the end. We have our first match is another Monsters Ball. It's Monsters Ball 2. As Mick Foley defends the new Legends Championship against Raven, Rhino, and the Monster Abyss. So after like 15 minutes, Rhino is just pummeling Raven with a steel chair, and Abyss is able to hit a black hole slam to Mick Foley. He goes for the cover. Rhino, instead of running in the ring, he runs around the ring. And this gives him enough time to make a cover, and Abyss becomes the new Legends Champion. Rhino, you're a moron. Our next match is for the Knockouts Championship. Gail Kim, the dominant champion that's run through everyone, is taking on Tara, aka Victoria from the WWE. And to the shock of everyone, Tara hits a Widow's Peak out of nowhere to Gail Kim and actually pins her, ending her title reign. Tara is the new Knockouts Championship as Gail Kim is just stunned at what just happened. In our main event, it is a rematch. Sting, with Kevin Nash in his corner, takes on Tyson Tomko with Christian Cage, who's looking on like, I'm so proud of you, Tomko. You finally achieved your dreams. And those dreams were shattered because Sting absolutely destroyed and buried Tomko. He finishes him off with a Scorpion Death Drop to end it. Sting reclaims the title, and Tomko is laid out in a pool of blood as Christian is crying probably. And, oh yeah, there's no Impact again. Oops, it got canned again, sorry. It will be back next month, I promise. We arrive at Final Resolution, the last pay-per-view before Bound for Glory, the biggest show of the year. To start off the show, we have a 4-way Tornado Tag Team match to determine who will take on Main Event Mafia Bound for Glory. We got the Latin American Exchange, the Motor City Machine Guns, Team 3D, and the team of Curryman and Sharkboy. And Homicide runs up the ladder. Hernandez is taking care of Sabin, and all the other guys are fighting on the outside, not even realizing that Homicide's there. Homicide grabs the briefcase, and it's official. At Bound for Glory, the LAX will be getting their title shot against Main Event Mafia. Our next match at Final Resolution, Tara is defending the Knockouts Championship against Roxy Laveau, who Tara easily disposes of, finishing her off with a picture-perfect moonsault. Tara retains the championship. After the match, Gail Kim comes out, but she's accompanied by Kevin Nash of the Main Event Mafia. Kevin Nash is at ringside as Gail Kim destroys and beats the crap out of Tara, revealing that she has now joined the Main Event Mafia as its female member. In our main event, yeah, we only have 2 matches this week. We have a 20-person battle royal to determine who will take on the Legends Champion at Bound for Glory. So, out of the 20 participants that fought in this match, the winner ended up being Chris Harris, the first person to actually win the Legends title, not including Booker T. So, at Bound for Glory, it's going to be Chris Harris, the Wildcat, taking on the Monster Abyss. And now it's the final Impact before Bound for Glory. We have 2 massive matches, title matches. The first is the Latin American Exchange being escorted out by Conan as they take on the Main Event Mafia. And the Main Event Mafia retained by countout. The Main Event Mafia retain their championships in a countout as the fans pour booze onto the Main Event Mafia. They get the hell out of there before Dixie Carter decides to restart the match or something. And in our main event is for the Knockouts Championship, as Tara will be defending against Gail Kim, who's sporting a brand new look, now being a part of the Main Event Mafia. And after a hellacious match between these 2 women, they tear each other to shreds. Tara is able to hit a Widow's Peak, but Gail Kim kicks out of that. So Gail Kim throws her into the corner, hits a knife edge chop, and actually pins her and wins the title. Yes, she won back the championship off of a knife edge chop. Regardless, Gail Kim has proven why she's the greatest knockout in TNA history. And now we arrive at Bound for Glory, where we have the X Division Championship opening the match as Amazing Red defends his championship against Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, and AJ Styles in an Ultimate X match. Now, if you don't know how this match works, it's basically, they have like 4 posts and they have 4 cables. They put the title / X thing in the middle, and the wrestlers have to climb the cables and take down the X. Now, of course, in this game, you can't actually do that. You can't actually climb the bars. So we had to improvise a bit. The wrestlers have to use ladders in order to get to the thing, to get to the championship. So we kind of compromised, but I still wanted to do it. Anyways, after a crazy X Division match with bodies flying everywhere, it ends when Christopher Daniels and AJ are fighting. AJ gets thrown into the ladder. Samoa Joe's on the outside with the stairs for some reason, but Amazing Red is able to sneak up while AJ and Daniels are fighting, and despite Daniels' best attempts, Amazing Red brings down the championship, defeating and besting 3 of the greatest X Division stars of all time and cementing himself as one of the best in the X Division. Our second match is a Monsters Ball. It's Monsters Ball 3, as Abyss defends the Legends Championship against Wildcat Chris Harris. This match was wonky. Alright, so first thing, Abyss had the steel steps, but Chris Harris did a bulldog right onto the, not even right onto it, right into and onto the steps, and the steps fell through the concrete mat, so they're just sticking out of the mat. Like, they just fallen through the ground, which is kind of weird. But then that's not even the weirdest part. The weirdest part is when Cody Rhodes comes out and interrupts the match by attacking Abyss. And Cody Rhodes, despite getting somewhat punished for it, still comes out for no reason whatsoever and beats the crap out of Abyss and then leaves. However, that's still not enough to help Chris Harris win, as Abyss hits a black hole slam to finish off Chris Harris. Abyss somehow survives Monsters Ball 3 with this championship, and I don't know why Cody Rhodes arrived. I don't know, but we'll make sure that doesn't happen again. And now it's time for our main event, the final match. It is Main Event Mafia Warfare, as Kurt Angle with his faction of the Main Event Mafia take on Sting with his faction of the Main Event Mafia for not only the World Championship, but control of the whole faction. After a crazy match back and forth, these guys rip each other to shreds. Kurt Angle hits a picture-perfect moonsault onto Sting and actually upsets Sting. Kurt Angle not only becomes the new TNA World Champion, but becomes the leader of the Main Event Mafia. Are they stronger as ever? Well, I guess we'll find out in the next part, because we don't know. This is the end. Sorry. And that's it. And that is what happened when I brought back TNA from its glory days of 2007 to 2009. I hope you liked it, because this isn't the end. This isn't the end of TNA, because even though this was the peak of TNA, I still watched the crap out of it afterwards. As our next arc is going to be none other... As our next arc in this series is going to be about Immortal. Brother! Thanks for watching, guys.